Good morning, y'all. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good day, good life, good Shabbos. I went to Shabbat the other night. First time in, I have no idea how long. Hey, I am Daniel Aaron, and I am delighted to be here with you today. Thank you for joining me on a very misty, magical, mystery-filled new moon morning here in Buckland, Massachusetts. And this is the perfect setting and perfect morning to share with you one of the surprisingly most magical and mysterious elements of magical intimacy. 'Twas about 20 years ago, in a land far, far away called Holland, where I was living at Humaniversity, which is part ashram, part university, part radical therapy center, part addiction recovery program. Amazing, awesome place, and it was life-changing for me. And they had some guidelines, shall we say, to intimacy. They called them rules of dating. And honestly, everything there, whether it was addiction recovery program or whatever you were into, was all about freedom, real freedom. One of the rules, one of the guidelines they called rules of dating was, well, I'll give you that. They're holding not many. One is always go for your first choice, and let that simmer for a moment. That's a whole huge one in and of itself. Two, and I'll tell you more about that another time. Two is if they say no, ask them why. If they say no, ask them why. And there was a presumption here, an agreement that we're honest with each other, we care about each other, and that we are all here to create freedom, to move beyond what's in the way for us. And one of the greatest discoveries I made around this came from a friend named Gunther from Germany. And he was an older guy. Let's see, 20 years ago, I was in my late 20s. And he was an older guy. To me, he was really old. He was probably like my age now, like what people would call middle age, which I think of as infancy. And he fancied this woman who was in our group, who was even a bit older than him. Guessing she was in her, I don't know, mid-50s, something like that. Awesome, beautiful woman, super vibrant, powerful, cool. And I like them both in different ways, obviously. Anyway, one day, he was kind of flowing along, and there was a little juju or magic happening between the two of them. And he said to her, I'd like to have a date with you. Would you, and dating by their terms means anything, any agreement to spend time with someone. It could be a walk in the woods, it could be a cup of tea, it could be spending the night together, it could be sexual, it could be affectionate, it could be, you got the idea. And he asked her for a date, and I don't remember actually if he said something specific about what the date was, though I suppose there must have been some implication of there being intimacy or sexuality involved in it. And she said no. He did what we were instructed to do and did a good job of it. He said, why? How come? And this is such a brave thing, right? Because when someone says no to us, I don't know how it is for y'all specifically, though I know for almost everybody I've ever met, and certainly in my own experience, that's such a scary thing to go for the first choice because, well, they're the most likely to say no. They're the one that we care about the most, so we're most likely to feel hurt by that or rejected. And when we ask them why they've said no, it's such an uncomfortable moment for most of us because, well, the story factory says, well, there's something wrong with me. I'm not good enough. I'm not lovable enough. I'm not strong enough. I'm not good looking enough. And in that moment, most of us are like, I want to get out of here. I want to run, hide in my cave. And what can happen is we can hear, well, I'll tell you what he heard. he asked her why. She said no. And she said, well, because when we hug each other, it's too rough. And there's a lot of hugging at Humaniversity. It was also called Hugging University. And which was interesting, by the way, as a side note. Part of why there was so much hugging, there was this highly encouraged affection. And that was a counterbalance to the radical therapies, some of which were very deep and scary and confrontative. Much more scary than what I'm talking about right now. Well, it's all relative, right? Anyway, she said, when we hug each other, you're too strong. I feel like you're not tuned into me. It's not sensitive. And I feel like you are trying to get something from me. Guys, my brothers, you know, I have been guilty of it 1,000 times, and I'm sure you have too, because the feminine is our access to the mystery, to the divine in some way. So there is something we want, you know, and in some way we all want to be wanted. Yet if we can switch that around to, I want to serve, I want to give, I want to love, I want to protect, I want to provide for you, then all is coming. In any case, he listened. And this is so rare, y'all. This is such a rare thing for someone to, one, ask for feedback, and two, listen with an open heart and not close up and be defensive. He listened. And man, over the next few days, I saw that dude transform. Gunther went from Gunther to Gunther. And he softened, and he became a better friend to me. I enjoyed him more. This is the power of feedback. This is the power of... Thing is, intimacy takes a lot of bravery. Into me you see, well, what if you don't like what you see? One of the things we'll find if we take that brave step of saying, okay, and you know, we got to frame it a little bit. I understand you said no, and without any pressure to you, and I'm not trying to change your mind, would you be willing to share with me? I want to learn, and I want to understand myself, and I want to be able to love better. Would you take a moment to tell me why? And what's amazing is, and I took this practice on when I was there too, I was so scared when I went to the first woman that I was really attracted to there, and I barely knew her. And when I said to my sort of counselor therapist there, I was like, well, if I go for my first choice, it's this woman over here, and I don't even know her. And Lucy, my therapist, she looked at me and she goes, well, maybe you try something different here. Anyway, I tried something different, and she said no. And I asked her why, and she said, well, you know, thank you for honoring me by asking, and I'm in a relationship and we don't see other people. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. You know, and what we might find is their no is, well, I just got out of a long relationship with some dude who had a funky beard and a bald head. Okay, it's not about me, or it's just about the way I look. Or what we might find is they're like, you know what, I'm in a committed relationship. Or what we might find is I'm just taking a break from relationship. Or I'm busy tonight, how about tomorrow night? And yes, we might find something else too, like, well, maybe there is something for me to learn about myself. Maybe there's something of value here. And when we have the bravery to ask for what is it they are seeing when they look into me, what are they feeling with me? Well, as funky as the light just got, magical things happen. Magical things are happening. And with that, y'all, I am Daniel Aaron. I am grateful to you for watching. I'm grateful to you for being in this mystery and dancing it together. Here in Buckland, the fog is thick and the light is bright. See you soon.